in his violent movements, or rather the violent periods that he has been in, he's an absolutely ruthless, completely merciless killer. He calmly goes about his business of, in one case, telephoning the police, and another tearing a strip off the shirt of the dead body of the immediately killed victim. He doesn't get great excitement over it. He just he thinks killing is just killing. So somebody like that is going to be a very serious problem for us.
Possibly they were ordered out of the car by the responsible, and the boy was shot right at the side of the car, and the girl apparently tried to run, and she was shot and found 28 feet further on.
Why did this happen?
It was a senseless murder, I believe.
Man, you really creeped us out.
Here comes a roly-poly man, he's singing songs of love.
He's coming towards us. Oh my God, he has a gun.
Don't move. I want your money and your car keys.
Okay. Okay.
The guy told him to take the money. He said, I don't want it. Says, all I want to do is kill you people. I have to kill you. And then he stabbed the girl. So,
the boy was conscious enough to give you a description of the man?
Oh, yes, the boy thought he wasn't gonna make it. He wanted to give a description of the guy best he could. About the best he could give us, that he had a hood over his face, and he was a big guy, 6 foot or better, over 200 pounds.
This has always been known as a city of mystery, and it seems now to have a new and real one on its hands. 5 murders, and somebody who says he committed all and will commit yet more.
A search goes on in San Francisco for the man known as the Zodiac Killer.
The Zodiac Killer seems to crave publicity. He sent letters and cryptograms to newspapers and the police, recounting his crimes, threatening more murders, and making Bay Area residents very edgy.
We're just about in the same position. We're still following a tremendous amount of leads. We're getting a tremendous amount of information every day, not only from the Bay Area, but from all over the nation. As you know, we have heard from him ourselves through our local press, and recently he has written to an attorney here in San Francisco, but As far as any specific piece of physical evidence or any specific individual, we're no closer than we were.
From all of your investigations, what can you tell us about the Zodiac?
Not a great deal. He's not an unintelligent man by a long shot.
I would say this, as I stated before, he knows he has a problem, definitely. He's a mental person that is sick, and all I could do is offer him help. This is about the only thing that law enforcement has to offer him at this time, is help.
I have no malice in my heart against him. I just don't want this to happen again to anyone else.
Said in one of his letters to the Chronicle, from that point on, he was not going to specify which killings were his, that some would be, he'd make some look like accidents, some look like suicides, some look like robberies, and that he would just play this game. We ran this story, and the Zodiac killer sent a Halloween card addressed to me personally. And for about a year, I carried a gun around, which was an unnerving experience also.
Today, there was a possibly significant development in the terrifying case of the man who calls himself Zodiac and has boasted that he is responsible for 5 murders in the last 9 months.
Say, in a bizarre twist, the hunted has become hunter. San Francisco Chronicle reporter and Zodiac target Paul Avery claims to have uncovered new information regarding the only unsolved homicide in Riverside County's history, a 1966 Southern California murder.
San Francisco was terrorized in the late 60s and early 70s by a man who called himself the Zodiac Killer. He claimed 37 murders. Police confirmed at least 6. 4 years ago, the killing stopped, and so did Zodiac's letter. Now there's another letter.
San Francisco police displayed a blackboard with excerpts of the latest Zodiac letter at a news conference last night. Police are convinced it's authentic. Deputy San Francisco Police Chief Clem D'Amicus said it's the 16th letter received from the Zodiac Killer and the first since 1974. For the last 9 years, the Zodiac investigation has been headed by Homicide Inspector David Toski.
I have always felt a gut feeling that he was not dead and that he was out there somewhere and that he would communicate. I was always hoping that he would communicate and not commit an act. A letter I can handle.
The latest letter from the Zodiac poses more questions than it answers. Questions like, why has he only communicated twice in the past 9 years? Has he killed in that time? No clues in the latest letter. But more importantly, who is the Zodiac and where is he?
We are talking today about serial killers. We've asked to join us a serial killer authority. His name is Robert Graysmith, and this man has spent 10 years researching the Zodiac before he wrote a book on it.
This has been going on now since 1966, this series of unsolved murders. Everyone in that case is terrified to speak. The stabbing victim from Lake Berryessa has gone into hiding. He's a criminal lawyer. He's never spoken again about the case. The young man that was with Pam's sister, he's dyed his hair and moved to Southern California. I can see the terror that runs through this case over the years.
Why has he not been caught?
Extremely intelligent. This man has crafted ciphers that have never been broken to this day. A certain amount of luck involved, too. And he's highly skilled. He's skilled in explosives, cryptography, any type of weapons.
A master criminal?
A master criminal, and uncaught to this day.
For 25 years, he's been suspected of being the infamous Zodiac murderer. Now, he finally speaks out, branded a butcher.
As I can tell, Allen seems to be the best suspect that come up with.
I feel that there are so many areas that point directly at Arthur Lee Allen that I feel that he is a viable suspect and in all probability the Zodiac.
There are a lot of people around who with all this bad publicity, are probably sure that I'm Zodiac. People who know me, no problem. Thank God for our Constitution, because that says a person is innocent until proven guilty.
You have to hear this. No, I don't, Robert. The birthday was the one time that he was weak. The one time that he gave something away.
Robert, I am calling the police.
It's Arthur Lee Allen! Okay, Arthur Lee Allen and the Zodiac, their timelines. 8 months before that, Allen is fired for molesting his students, and his family discovers that he's a pedophile. Arthur Lee Allen lived in his mother's basement on Fresno Street. Door to door. That is less than 50 yards.
No, I'm most certainly not the Zodiac killer.
Vallejo police investigators said they never charged Allen because they couldn't explain discrepancies in the Zodiac's handwriting.
They haven't arrested me because they can't prove a thing. I'm not the damn Zodiac.
It did not match the partial profile that we developed. Arthur Lee Allen did not donate the biological material that was recovered from the stamp or the Zodiac correspondence that yielded this result.
When you write, you rest the heel of your palm, a very characteristic part of it, on the paper. And people in those days weren't really aware that you could leave a palm print and that it could be identified. They knew about fingerprints, but the public really wasn't that aware of palm prints. They were able to obtain palm prints from Arthur Lee Allen. It was compared to the one that had been developed earlier, and they don't match. That is not Arthur Allen's palm print.
Since 1966, a hooded mass killer known as the Zodiac has rampaged through the San Francisco Bay Area like a hungry, marauding beast. Over the last 25 years, the spell of this bizarre serial killer has been devastating. It's ruined lives, destroyed careers. People have become obsessed, swept up in the horrific high tide of the murder, the mystery, and the loss. He says it runs in the family, his own family. Recently, William Beeman, a criminal attorney of 39 years, self-published 2 books claiming his deceased brother Jack is the Zodiac.
I think he really believes this. But however, when he tried to foster a book onto the public, it hurt his credibility tremendously.
But the new evidence is strong and compelling, and I do believe my father's name should go to the top of the list as a suspect.
The identity of the Zodiac killer is Jack Torrance. He's my stepfather.
I recognize the individual as my father.
So how do you process in your head that your father was the Zodiac killer? I mean, how do you work through that? How long did it take you to accept that?
This is a handwriting comparison I did. Am I obsessed? No, more obligated.
I found cards and letters in evidence held by the police which were written by my father or by me.
Well, it turned out it was my father's mugshot, and it was an exact match.
Perez says her father took her along on some of his killings.
Could be a knife that he barbecued with one day, or who knows? You know, could be a knife he murdered someone with. I don't know.
I have those glasses.
I was definitely in shock when I saw this.
And what I'm thinking is it comes down to one thing, and that's book sales. And I guarantee you people are rushing out to buy this book right now. It makes me sick to my stomach.
It's very important, and I think this is something that's been forgotten about in the Zodiac case. It's very important to let the evidence drive the suspects, not the suspects drive the evidence. What I mean by that is we evaluate our suspects by our known, reliable physical evidence. We don't look at a good suspect that we think we have a personal interest in or particular theory that we've favored, and then start to reinterpret the physical evidence. That's not how you do a case. That's gotten a lot of people into trouble in the whole Jack the Ripper case, one of the most famous unsolved serial murder investigations. And we tend to see now books with very titles full of hubris about how they've solved the case, etc. But actual fact, they tend to be more textbooks for how not to do a criminal investigation. It's important for any analyst or investigator or profiler, detective, or anyone who is seeking to determine the truth, and let's throw in judges and scientists here too, is to come with it as unbiased as possible, look through all the facts and the data, and make the best determination at the end of the day. But if we made our determination beforehand, the psychological research is very clear. Try as we might, we become locked into circular patterns of thinking, and we keep returning to what we want to think rather than what the evidence suggests that we should think.
Bits and pieces of information, leads and tips from people who want to help catch the Zodiac killer have been pouring into police headquarters here at the Hall of Justice for the last few days.
From witnesses, there are two generally similar composite drawings. He's around 30, reddish hair, 5 feet 10, crew cut, but not much more than that is known.
It took over some people's lives. I tried very hard not to let it take over my life. The prime mystery of it all is not only who is the Zodiac killer, but what happened to him.
At some point in time, we will probably catch the Zodiac, or at least learn his identity. A person like this isn't going to keep this quiet all to himself all his life. I think it ultimately will be solved. I don't think it'll be a Jack the Ripper.
Well, I've read the case files, have you? Everything you need to find him is right there in those pages.
And tell me how.
First, principles, Clarice. Simplicity. Read Marcus Aurelius. Of each particular thing, ask, what is it in itself? What is its nature? What does he do, this man you seek?
He kills women.
No, that is incidental. What is the first and principal thing he does? What needs does he serve by killing?
Anger. Social acceptance and sexual frustrations.
No, he covets. That is his nature. And how do we begin to covet, Clarice? Do we seek out things to covet? Make an effort to answer now.
No. We just...
No, we begin by coveting what we see every day. Don't you feel eyes moving over your body, Clarice? And don't your eyes seek out the things you want?
Here's what we know. Sherry Jo Bates attended Riverside Community College. She studies in the library the night of October 30th, 1966. She leaves with an unidentified male at closing, 9 p.m. Her body's found the next morning in a parking lot, stabbed to death. Her car is disabled. Someone cut the coil of the distributor, the battery died. That someone comes back, offers to help. 6 months later, the police, the girl's father, and the paper, they all received these.
Double posted, just like Zodiac. This was found a couple of months later by a janitor in RCC storage.
Zodiac had a widow's peak, hair coming in the center more and receding on both sides of the forehead. I don't know if that's the proper term for it, but that's what my parents used to call it.